I want to set the scene for y'all really quickly. I'm at the gym on the treadmill, just following my own advice and moving my body so I don't feel the pains of being tall or whatever. Just having a peaceful morning. And now the treadmills are facing this glass window that you can literally see through to see outside. And across the street from my gym is a store. So as I'm walking on my treadmill, I just happen to look outside of this window and I see one of the most disturbing sights of my life. What's that TikTok sound that's like, and I turn around and I hear this agitating voice. You know what I'm talking about?
And now I want to sit back and relax and enjoy my evening. When all of a sudden I hear this agitating, grating voice.
Yeah, that's exactly what was playing through my head when I looked out that window. I saw a mannequin wearing capris. Not like jeans capris, kind of like legging capris, kind of those things that you would see on social media nowadays, insinuating that that store is selling capris. I have no words. If you're watching the video version of this, I'm just going to include a clip of that here, but I'm pretty sure you can imagine what I'm talking about. Anyways, today we are going to be talking about this atrocity, in my opinion, and why tall women have such a hard time being able to follow fashion trends or what's trending nowadays. So let's get into it. Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope everyone who's tuning in today is doing super fantastic. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say, make sure you're following me on my socials at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. I'm genuinely curious. I also have a monthly newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to that. Everything is going to be linked in the description. This is a bit of a follow-up from my previous episode where I was talking about the unhealthy relationship that tall women may have with jeans. I'm going to include that in the description. I'm going to include the link for that in the description. And this is also following a poll that I actually ran on Instagram asking what tall girl commentary you guys want to hear more of. And most of y'all said fashion/clothing. It was pretty close though, but yeah, I found it interesting because I'm not a tall fashionista whatsoever, like at all. So the fact that you guys more so want to hear more of that, I don't know. I just find it interesting. I'm going to do my best, but I am very opinionated. So at least we have that. Anyways, capris. This is a question for the tall girlies. So capris are back in style. How are we feeling about this? Is this something that we're wearing to the backyard barbecues this summer? And listen, everyone is entitled to their own likes and dislikes. Wear what makes you feel beautiful. Wear what makes you feel confident. Wear what makes you feel comfortable in your own skin. I'm just saying that just because it's a trend, you don't necessarily have to follow it if you don't want to. And if it's a trend and you like it and you want to follow it and it flatters your body and it suits you and it makes you feel good about yourself, go for it, okay? I'm just talking about my personal opinion as well as the opinions of a couple other tall girlies. And I can tell you right off the bat that some of the tall girlies are not here for this trend, like at all. Let's listen to this clip really quickly.
I don't know why no one has said it, but coming from a fellow tall girl, I'm not hopping on the capri bandwagon/trend. I don't care what it is. We used to get bullied not having on full-length pants. I'm good. It's traumatic.
I did run a poll over on Instagram and I'm just going to do a quick plug. Make sure you follow me at a Tall Girls podcast so you could participate in these polls and have your opinions heard on these episodes. But I did run a poll over on Instagram asking, I literally have a picture. I posted a picture of the mannequin with these capri thingies on. And I asked, are we doing this capris trend? 76% of y'all said, oh heavens no. I'm right there with y'all. And then 24% said heck yeah. Who are the people who said heck yeah? Because I want to know if you're part of the tall people community, for real. So I'm looking through the results more and I'm seeing more so the taller girlies are the ones that are saying, oh heavens no. And I only know that they're tall because they have their height in their bios or they have something involving tall in their bios or their username, I should say. Oh, wait. Okay. So one tall girlie actually did end up saying, heck yeah. Very interesting. I don't know. Some of y'all even hit me up. One said, oh, no, 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 no. She don't want that coming back at all. And then there was another person that was like, it needs to channel the 60s. Then I guess she would like it or wear it or consider it. So I'm assuming that, okay, she's trying to say, okay, if we're bringing this trend back, then it needs to channel the time period that it was once popular in, instead of trying to level it up or trying to 2025ify it. And by 2025ify, I mean, right now what's happening is that what's, I guess you could say, trendy in fashion, especially for women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, is just basically, I wouldn't say basics, but wearing like upscale basics, elevated basics. Neutrals are back, you know, the browns, the earthy tones, and blacks, and all of that. And I guess she's trying to say that if it's, 2025ified in the neutral tones and basics and the elevated basics and so forth, then no, because that's ridiculous. But if it's channeling 60s vibes, then yeah. Okay. I guess I can kind of see that point, but also not really. I'm with the people who said, oh heavens, no. Now, these are not to be confused with ankle length pants. And so, ankle length pants are basically pants that end right at your ankle, right above your ankle, I should say. Whereas capris, they end like past your knee. I mean, it could be mid calf, it could be right below your knees. For some of the tall girlies wearing the regular schmegular capris, it could probably end right above your knees, depending. Because honestly, I don't even think that they have tall capris, like capris for tall people. I think they just have the regular schmegular ones, like the ones that the 5'6", 5'7", 5'5" girlies are wearing nowadays. So those would basically fit tall girlies like Bermuda shorts, like the long line shorts, if you know what I mean. Basically, super long, over glorified shorts. Yeah. But I mean, if there are tall capris out there and you know about it, let me know. So, why are the tall girlies not a big fan of this trend? Why are the tall girlies disgusted by this trend? Well, I mean, it brings back really bad memories of standing in the dressing room and trying on different pairs of pants and jeans that all of your friends and classmates and peers are wearing from these brands. But when you try them on, it literally does not hit your ankles like at all. Maybe it stops mid calf, maybe it stops right above your ankles, maybe it stops literally barely below your knees, but either way, they were not long enough for you. And I don't want to say that back then, it depends on the time period, because there are certain time periods where capris were actually a trend, especially I feel like in the 90s, maybe the late 90s, maybe like the early 2000s. But for me, when I was middle school, junior high school, that was like going in, wow, when was I born? I was born 2002. All of the issues started when I was in third grade. When you're third grade, you're 7. So yeah, like 2009, the 2010s and stuff like that. I personally don't think that that was a big trend in the 2010s, but it wasn't a trend in my school. I will say that, because you could show up to school wearing pants that don't actually fit you long enough and people will be laughing at you. You could show up to the mall, you could show up to a birthday party and people will be looking at you all funny, pointing at you, talking about you, whispering about you, making fun of you. It literally looked like your jeans shrunk in the wash, and honestly, maybe it did. It literally looked like you got that pair out of the toddler section. Like, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. You would get, oh, where's the flood? You know, I think that's literally where it came from. Where's the flood? Because the jeans were not long enough for you. And honestly, I think that's like an 80s and 90s thing, because I never got that when I was growing up, but people did make fun of me because the jeans were fitting like capris, essentially. And that wasn't cool at school at the time. But, now that I heard that there are people out there who got Where's the Flood, every time I see a pair of capris now, whether it's on social media or now the mannequins at these stores, all I hear is, where's the flood? Where's the flood? Where's the flood? Where's the flood? Anyways, I did a whole entire TikTok on this, so I'm gonna include that here. This is only gonna make sense if you're a tall girl. I've been seeing more and more OOTDs of the girlies wearing capri-like bottoms. And yeah, I get it's a trend right now or whatever. But I want to ask the tall girlies, how are we feeling about this? Because while the average height folks think this look is cute, I'm getting traumatic flashbacks from trying jeans on in my childhood. They're choosing to wear this. Meanwhile, when I was 10, 11, 12, that was all I had. You know how many times my peers made fun of me? I had to walk past my 6th grade crush looking like a fool. Where's the flood? And you mean to tell me that right now this is trending? Anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you can relate, I actually did an entire episode diving deep into the unhealthy relationship tall women can have with jeans. Definitely check it out, the link is in my bio. We're gonna go through the comments of this video really quickly. One person said, I need jeans that touch the bottom of my ankles or shorts, nothing in between. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. One person straight up said, I hate it. Girl, me too. Another person said, absolutely not. I fought so hard and so long to find pants that would cover my ankles. I am not going back. And that is exactly what I'm trying to say in this episode, that a lot of the tall girlies out here, it literally does bring back bad memories of trying to find jeans that were long enough and failing over and over and over for years and years and years. And now it's like, oh, like now, like, it's gonna be short, like on purpose. Like, no. We fought so hard to finally find something that goes back down to our ankles. Why do we want to relive those embarrassing years of trying to find jeans? You know, especially as a younger person, it really does affect your self-esteem and confidence. Another person said, I am not a fan. I think they look dumb and I feel dumb trying them on, especially being 90% leg because of where my waist ends. Same. The only reason I'm tall is because I have long legs, okay? I have a tiny torso is crazy. I have a short torso, yes. And the only reason I'm tall is because my legs make up a good like 60% of my body. So to have something like that just highlight how long my legs are already, like I can wear shorts and do that. I don't need capris for this. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. But I do want to say that influencers, fashion influencers definitely play a big role in this. And this kind of brings up my next point. One thing tall fashion influencers could do more of, and listen, this is just an idea, don't come for me, is sometimes instead of testing if a brand is tall girl approved, test if a trend is tall girl approved. Like the CAPRIS trend, is that tall girl approved? Remember when ballet flats was a thing? Is that tall girl approved? Do they have extended sizes for those? Am I making sense? All right, I want to be opinionated. I want to give my 2 cents. This CAPRIS trend, in my opinion, is absolutely ridiculous. But listen, that's just me. Honestly, I think a lot of fashion trends are absolutely ridiculous, but I personally think that it's because I'm not a fashion person whatsoever, and that's okay. I like my basic stuff and I wear that and I go about my life. And listen, some people like to spruce it up or whatever, and if that's what you're into, super lit, super cool. And some of these fashion trends look good on y'all. Some of these fashion trends look good on a lot of people, and it's like, go for it. If you like to experiment and jazz things up, point blank period, I love that, okay? But some of them is really just like, why is this a thing? Like the CAPRIS trend right now. Why is this a thing? Why are we bringing this back? Like, maybe it's just because I'm a tall girl, so in my tall girl mind, I'm sitting here like, ugh, what? But just in general, like, why is this CAPRIS trend a thing right now? So I did look it up because why not? And apparently there are loads of reasons. Some fashion sites are saying nostalgia. This was a big thing in the late 90s and early 2000s. They're also saying sophistication, elegance, classiness, or whatever. But one word that really stuck out to me was delicate. And this kind of ties into femininity in a way. And I feel like a very common theme in fashion trends, well, women's fashion trends, is this idea of looking or being delicate. And I feel like a lot of these trends kind of play into, I wouldn't say obsession because that's like too strong of a word, but obsession or maybe this desire to look stereotypically feminine, looking stereotypically feminine. So like being small, being petite, being dainty, maybe being ultra feminine. And listen, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. The issue is more so with how these clothes are made. Think about it this way, the CAPRIS trend. I personally feel like this is made more so for the short girlies. Because they're short, clothes are less likely to look too short on them. So that would look intentional. It looks like they made that style choice. But on us, taller women, it looks like we can't shop to save our lives. Like we can't find clothes that fit Think about it this way. What about balloon skirts? What about the ballet flats, as I said before? I think that those are more so for the shorter petite girlies. Do you think they have tall sizes for those? Do you think they have extended sizes for those? And when I'm talking about extended sizes, I'm more so talking about the shoes like the ballet flats, because some tall women honestly have size 10, 11, 12 feet. Do they have those types of options for the taller girlies, the girlies that need more fabric, that need more in their clothing, as they do for the shorter, more petite girlies? When you think about it, not really. They don't have too many of those, or at least from what I know of or what I have knowledge of. And it's like you scroll through these blogs and you scroll through these TikTok videos, you scroll through social media, and it's like, why does it look good on her? Why does it fit her well? But then when I try it on my tall body, because keep in mind the height difference, there could be a big height difference. She could be 5'3" and you could be 6'3". Why does it look good on her but not on me? Why doesn't it fit me the way that it fits her? And then that's when you start thinking that there's something wrong with your body, there's something wrong with your height. And that's honestly the issue with fashion trends. I just think that fashion trends are made for a specific body type. Because I'm not trying to say that, oh, it's only for the shorter people, because listen, I get it. They're trying to appeal to the masses, whatever. But I don't even think just like the shorter people, like the shorter, smaller, petite women is honestly who they're catering to. A lot of these brands are making clothing items and pieces that are meant for women with a smaller frame, because that is what's chic, that is what's trendy, that is what's feminine. Tall women deserve clothes that fit their length, clothes that make us feel beautiful and confident. We shouldn't have to settle for clothes that look like we got it out of the preteen section. Like, be so for real. Anyways, it's bold of me to assume that these types of people are listening to this episode right now, but tall stylists, tall fashionistas, please enter the chat. What are some tips that you have for the tall girlies trying to navigate these fashion trends? Because let's be real, some of these fashion trends are only meant for a specific body type. The women with the smaller frames, because honestly, that is what trendy fashion is trying to gear towards, because that's what's quote unquote trendy as a woman. Smaller frames, being petite, being delicate, that is what's seen as feminine. Whereas it's not a thing of how you come across, your vibe, and so forth and so on. So that's basically my opinion on the whole Caprice trend, but also fashion trends in general, and why I think that tall women should stray away from that and honestly just wear, and instead of trying to force themselves, some of them, not all of them, some of us, instead of trying to force ourselves into wearing something that is clearly not made for our demographic, we should be wearing clothing that actually makes us feel confident and actually fits our length and is flattering for us and is made in longer sizes and taller sizes so we don't look ridiculous. But that's just me. I'm going to end it here. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a shorter episode, but it is a-okay. I just wanted to come on here and talk about this while, it's still kind of popular, I guess you could say. But thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Of course, as always, feel free to hit me up on my socials at A Tall Girls Podcast and let me know what you thought about this episode or what you think about this Caprice trend. Have you tried it? Are you going to try it? Do you want to try it? Did I somehow convince you to not try it? I don't know. Let me know. My DMs are open. And until then, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Good night and goodbye.